I've always believed that to understand a problem, you need to get as close to it as you possibly can. So I'm back meeting people who are living with some of the biggest issues facing Britain today.
They're all different colours.
Tonight, a journey across Britain opens my eyes to a hidden crisis. For millions of Britons, painkillers are vital. But what happens if we become addicted to them?
I'd wake up and take cocodamol for breakfast, and then an hour later I'd take 3 more cocodamol, and it went like that all day.
What do you think of this stuff?
It's poisoned me.
The one on the left-hand side is heroin.
I meet a drug dealer, one of many, cashing in on painkillers that can be 50 times stronger than heroin. Do you worry about the people that die?
No.
Why?
Just business.
Around 28 million of us suffer from chronic pain.
Shaheen, how are you?
And rely on painkillers from high street pharmacies like this one, run by Shaheen Bhattia.
So I've got the generic versions of cocodamol, which is paracetamol and codeine, solpadeine.
These over-the-counter drugs contain codeine. It's an opioid painkiller made from the poppy plant or created synthetically in a lab.
The one thing that unites all of those different packets is they all have codeine, which is an opiate, in them.
That's right, yes.
Used for everything from bad backs to cancer, they carry clear manufacturer's warnings not to exceed the stated dose. Pharmacists should also advise customers not to use codeine for longer than 3 days.
If I came in to your pharmacy and I wanted something because I had a headache or I had some pain, would you recommend an opioid?
Not straight away, no. We would always suggest to people that they try other painkillers first, like paracetamol or ibuprofen or even aspirin.
Around 5 million people take stronger opioid-based painkillers, available only through your doctor.
They're much stronger than the ones that you can get over the counter.
There's a lot of them.
We've got tramadol, which is another opiate. We've got the morphine ones, very, very important in palliative care. Then you have the fentanyls for cancer pain or similar conditions or end of life.
And how much stronger is it than the other drugs that you've shown me?
Probably at least 100 times stronger.
100 times?
Yes. The problems with opioids is that they also act on other receptors, which gives you the euphoria, the feel-good feeling. They were feeling a bit down about their pain originally. And goes, well, this is good, and then they carry on using it.
So people are actually wanting more and more of these pills and not really aware that they're becoming slowly addicted.
That's right.
Experts say there could be as many as 500,000 people across the country addicted to prescription opioid painkillers. Before lockdown, I went to Bradford, West Yorkshire. I was there to meet a woman who went to the doctor with severe back pain after she was involved in a car accident. Since then, Sherry Flatt's life has never been the same.
Hello?
Hi, Ross.
How are you?
I'm all right, thank
Come
you.
in.
Yeah, come on in.
Take my shoes off.
She's now addicted to morphine.
They're the ones that I take at night time.
Sherry's about to take her morning dose.
They're all different colours for the milligram. So these are 10. And then you've got your 5 milligrams here, which are white.
I can see you're a little bit shaky, aren't you?
Yeah, like my body's gonna snap.
The NHS recommends using opioid painkillers for acute pain, but warns against using them long term. Despite this, Sherry's been on and off these painkillers for 20 years.
I'll just take these and then I'll tell you. I tried everything. Tylex, tramadol, diclofenac, you name it, I've taken it.
From the doctor?
Yeah, for the pain. And then obviously at last resort with the morphine.
Because that is stronger?
Yeah. They take what you were drinking in morphine, put it into tablet form and up it.
Up the dosage?
Yeah, so I would take 12-hour slow release in the morning. Then I would take them again middle of the day. And then I was taking them at night time as well.
What do you think of this stuff?
It's poison. It's poisoned me.
It's supposed to be there to stop the pain that you were feeling, but what has it actually done to your body over the years?
Oh, I were itching like mad. I was tearing my skin off, especially at night time. I'd wake up, I'd be just covered in blood.
Was there a moment when you thought, it's just not worth it?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd planned what I was going to do. I was going to kill myself because I couldn't live this life that I was living.
What stopped you?
My kids.
Sherry was in severe pain. She went to a doctor's to sort the pain out, but she was just given painkillers. Now, those painkillers developed into an opioid addiction that nearly cost her her life, a life that she's fighting to get back. Sherry's doctor told us pain relief is complex. The GP practice had an historically high rate of opioid prescribing, but since 2014 has significantly reduced it with the help of an opioid reduction service. Sherry goes to the Bridge Project, which helps patients reduce their dosage of opioid medication.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Ross.
Thank you for allowing
I'm
me
joining one of their sessions.
I had a 10-year addiction to cocodamol. I was taking close to 30 tablets a day.
30?
Yeah. It works out about 21,000 milligrams of paracetamol a day. Yeah, it was bad, really bad.
Katie's addiction started when she was just 16.
I was prescribed them for a medical condition, and I got to the point where I wasn't in pain and I just kept taking them, and if I ran out, I'd go to the chemist and buy over the counter. I'd wake up and take cocodamol for breakfast, and then an hour later I'd take 3 more cocodamol, and an hour later 3 more, and it went like that all day.
The thing I don't understand is, how can you up your own dose without going to the GP?
It's very easy. Oh, the lies you can tell to your doctor to try and get hold of your repeat prescription early, to say you've had your prescription stolen, you're going on holiday, you need it early.
You can go on and buy a box of 20, £30 for a box of 100, get it delivered to your door within 48 hours.
And these are all opioids, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Michael Ritchie has worked with the Bridge Project for 20 years.
People are taking medication.
He provides counselling and helps GPs to safely reduce patients' medication.
Do we understand the true scale of the problem in the UK?
We don't, unfortunately. It's an hidden problem massively. We do know there's a lot of people on opioid medication.
How many?
Just over 5 million. So that's a lot of people.
60-year-old Sharon had surgery for cancer and ended up becoming addicted to painkillers, including fentanyl.
I was able to get massive doses. I was on 700 ml of morphine per week, plus fentanyl patches. It's more powerful than heroin.
50 to 100 times stronger than morphine.
50 to 100 times stronger than morphine. And you had it as a patch?
Yeah.
As well as morphine?
Yeah.
Do you think there's enough education out there, there's enough knowledge out there about the addiction of all the different drugs that the people in this room have become addicted to?
No, I mean, the common thing when I speak to patients is they didn't realise it was addictive, they didn't realise how strong it was.
Is this situation getting worse?
I'm seeing more and more people, yeah. We can't cope with the demand.
There is definitely a perception out there that this issue is a lot more sterile than it actually is, and it's not. It's as dirty and as life-destroying as heroin addiction. Absolutely.
I don't think we have a true understanding of just how big a problem this is in the UK. And when you think you can be legally given a drug that is 50 times stronger than heroin, no wonder so many people are becoming addicted.
This secret world has an even darker side, and it involves fentanyl, a painkiller so strong it was developed to ease the pain of cancer patients. It's strictly regulated and effective when used properly, only available from doctors on prescription. but illegal versions appear easy to find elsewhere. It's literally taken only 2 clicks on a laptop to find fentanyl for sale on the web. Fentanyl powder, $250 to $7,300. The suppliers of fentanyl on the internet, they give you numbers that you can contact them on, and we had a chat with one earlier. Hi there, do you deliver to the UK? Yes. Secure, discreet packaging. Okay, what's the maximum you can send? 1 kilo. That's enough to kill 400,000 people. If I had ordered fentanyl online, I would have been breaking the law, and who knows, I may not have received it. But I wanted to find out if others were buying it, and I found someone who was prepared to talk.
So what's this?
So we have a bit of heroin here. We have a bit of F1 already mixed.
He's a drug dealer. I don't know his name or identity, and the meeting has been arranged through a trusted source who has verified he is who he says he is. On the condition of total anonymity, he's agreed to talk to me about how he mixes heroin with fentanyl, along with F1, a secret ingredient he uses to bulk up his product.
The one on the left-hand side is heroin.
Yeah.
That one on the right is F1 already mixed with fent.
With fentanyl?
Yes.
So what you would now do is mix that?
Yes. Not necessarily in that ratio.
So then it would go into smaller parcels, yeah?
Tiny parcels.
So how long have you been using fentanyl in the heroin?
Coming up to 3 years now.
And what made you do that?
Fentanyls are cheaper. A little bit of that, mixing it with the right stuff, can take us a long way.
So to bring the profits up?
Yes.
You're putting fentanyl?
Yes. Magic. People don't realise that when they're taking heroin cut with fentanyl, they're thinking it's great heroin. But actually it's probably not, because it's probably got fentanyl in it. And it hits you quicker, it's a bigger hit, and it holds on for longer.
So what you're saying is that fentanyl is more addictive than heroin?
Absolutely. It's versatile. So not only people are using it with heroin, they're using it with cocaine.
What about the risks involved in using fentanyl mixing with heroin? The chances of ODs, we know that
They're huge. I've seen a lot of deaths.
Do you worry about the people that die?
No.
Why?
Just business. People have a choice to make, to take it, that's their decision. We're just the middlemen.
Fentanyl is cheap. It's 50 times stronger than heroin. It's more addictive than heroin. So, of course, they're going to use it to make more money. But if they get the mix wrong, people die. Coming up, drug dealing in lockdown. There's been some overdoses in the area.
Ross, I didn't even want to talk about it before, man.
And as fentanyl hits our streets in increasing quantities, how it's affecting people's lives.
Keep planning a future.
This is a message from the government's chief medical officer about coronavirus.
I was already surprised at how widespread painkiller addiction is in Britain, and that the prescription drug fentanyl used to treat severe pain is now being mixed with illegal drugs. But as the COVID-19 lockdown hit, things were about to get worse.
Follow the specialist medical advice.
Scotland has the highest drug death rate per capita of any country in Europe. I want to find out if the lockdown is affecting the supply of street drugs. So I'm heading to Falkirk to meet up with Peter Krykant. Now, he used to be a heroin user and he is now a drugs activist. Peter.
Hi, Ross, how are you?
Good to see you, man.
And you. You want to come over and have a little seat in the garden?
Love to.
COVID-19's led to lots of different concerns in Scotland. We've seen that deals in terms of heroin sizes are getting smaller, the quality is getting really dodgy. And
so they're charging more and providing less, which
less.
is a clear indication that there's less heroin
available.
That's why concerns around other substances that enter on the market are so high, because things like fentanyl are so much easier to transport, to ship from country to country.
Peter makes a call and arranges for me to meet one of the heroin users he regularly helps. Robert is a heroin user. That makes him vulnerable to infection, so we're going to wear full PPE.
The police has actually stopped us, and they says to us, watch what you're doing because there's a bad batch of heroin going about Falkirk. The quality is different.
In terms of bad batch, they mean it could be potentially lethal or harmful to you?
Yes, correct.
So have you taken some of this new batch stuff and it's actually knocked you, it's given you...
No, it's just forgot 2 or 3 days.
So the strength of it has been more acute?
Yeah.
There's been some overdoses and fatalities recently in the area.
Yeah, a lot. My partner was one of them.
Was she used to taking those drugs?
For many, many, many years.
So what she took would not normally have resulted in that outcome?
She could have swallowed 30, 40, 50 Valium in front of me.
Have you seen other people overdose?
Yeah.
Pass away?
Not nice. I have overdosed a few times. God rest her soul, my partner saved my life.
Did she?
A few times. I saved... Ross, I didn't even want to talk about it in the program, man.
OK, man.
That. Sorry, man.
Rob, you all right, Pop?
After a few minutes, Robert was prepared to continue our conversation.
I hadn't had the fentanyl until a couple of months ago. There's been a good bulky heroin put into Scotland, and as soon as that's away, I think that we're actually going to see an increase in fentanyl. It's scary.
A decade ago, the number of UK deaths from fentanyl abuse was in single figures. In 2018, it was 127. And it's not just happening on the streets of Falkirk. I've come to the affluent market town of Maidenhead in Berkshire. I'm here to meet 70-year-old Brian Reed, a retired industrial chemist who now uses his laboratory skills to test street drugs at music festivals.
This 100-odd milligrams of heroin would be a lethal dose. That's a lethal dose of fentanyl on the right-hand side.
There's about
a few grains.
15 grains max.
5 years ago, Brian discovered his daughter Lydia, then aged 24, was using heroin.
I received a phone call at work one afternoon about 3 o'clock. Lydia said, I have a prescription, I need to go to a particular chemist, it's very important, it's very urgent, can you take me now? We had to stand in line in a busy pharmacy while she took methadone.
Did Lydia explain to you how she'd got into injecting heroin?
No, she absolutely refused to speak to me about it.
But she needed you to go and get that prescription?
Yes, and I think it was her way of telling me, getting me involved on some level. And she didn't take any drugs for at least 8 months, possibly a whole year went by.
And what happened then?
It was my wife's birthday. She came for this celebration, and she was sitting at the table over there as though absolutely everything in the world was fine for her. And just about a week later, she was dead. Yeah, so she suddenly felt the urge to go out and get some more heroin, it seems. And she came back and took some in the bathroom. And it made her ill for several days. She should have been a pretty intense warning sign that there was something wrong. But just a few days after that, she took the fatal dose. It was only some months later, when I was speaking to a policeman, that the fentanyl connection was made.
Was fentanyl ever established as the reason for the overdose?
Well, the policeman stated that as a fact, so I take it that was true.
If Lydia's heroin was laced with fentanyl, it would make it stronger and more likely to lead to an overdose.
There she is, looking happy.
Yeah.
She was engaged to be married.
She was planning a future.
Yes.
How did you come to terms with the fact that you'd lost your daughter like that? Or do you ever? You don't?
No.
How do you feel about the people that sell heroin?
I can't possibly describe how I feel about people who mix such a dangerous drug.
People who are mixing heroin with fentanyl?
Yes.
The chair of the Advisory Council on the Misuse of Drugs has reported to the Home Office on the dangers of illicit fentanyl.
Fentanyl-laced heroin is like being given a pint of beer, but it's actually a pint of whiskey. But you don't know that until you finish drinking it. If someone is using heroin, even if they're a very experienced heroin user, the moment fentanyl's been added to fortify the heroin, they're just playing Russian roulette.
Talk to me about the recommendations that you made to government.
All drug seizures should be checked to see if there's fentanyl in them. We recommended that fentanyl should be routinely tested for in anyone who experiences a drug-related death.
And that isn't the case right now?
At the moment, there's not a routine testing of fentanyl, and we've strongly felt to understand the problem properly, that should take place.
Clearly, there is a medical need for opioid painkillers, even those as strong as fentanyl. But as the experts have told us, by overprescribing these drugs, we could be using a quick fix to create a possible long-term problem for millions of Britons. And unless we start testing all illegal drug seizures for the presence of fentanyl, we'll have no idea how much of it is leaking into the market and how many lives it's taking.